So returning to the marketplace is re-owning all those aspects, but not being controlled by them, but being the master. In other words, so if I get angry, the anger is usually very much connected with what we call wisdom. It's coming from wisdom. So it's the compassion coming out of the wisdom of the non-dual in the dualistic realm, in the world, in the marketplace.
So what you're saying, it's used in a positive way, in effect?
Not only positive, but in a mature way.
Mature way,
yeah.
Okay.
Because every aspect has a immature, when we're new at anything new, right? We're going to go through a process of immaturity and growth. And then as we reach more maturity and more growth, then it becomes a wiser, more appropriate way to use that energy. That's why I also say it's very tantric, because now we're using the same energies, but in a way that brings about transformation and empowerment to others.
Because one of the things, again, I've always had difficulties with is people who, enlighten, stroke, self-realize, whatever people, and they can be pretty nasty at times. They can be, for me, lack compassion, and there's all the excuses. Well, I'm doing this for you, and you're unaware, and that I don't buy that anymore.
Right.
It doesn't feel true to me. And I think what you're saying
is disowned.
It's been disowned, and once it is owned again, then it becomes balanced, if you like.
Yeah, we could
more
say
rounded,
it becomes what we call upaya, a skillful means to help others. Because what happens when it's disowned, it leaks out. It always is going to come out covertly.
Right.
Because it's disowned. So
right.
The whole process of the big mind, and what I'm trying to do with big mind, is to work on the shadows, to work on these voices or these aspects of ourself, whether they be in the spiritual realm or in the what we might call the marketplace realm, right? The awakened or the marketplace. There's going to be shadows. For somebody that's just in the world, the shadow might be there's no such thing as awakening or enlightenment or no self or no mind. That's that's bull, right? For the spiritual, it's I'm not going to be angry as much as I can, possibly, stay away from being angry, aggressive, ruthless, competitive, because those are all bad things. So we end up being less successful. Spiritual communities, particularly in Zen, I know that the best, we're all very poor. Because what happens is we disown success on that level. And so it's okay to be poor, but in a way, then we're always struggling, right? And somehow it's not okay to be successful.
Yeah. And, there's some interesting people, because I know Steve Jobs, I don't know Steve Jobs, but from what I've read about him, he's been Zen meditating since 19 years old. I'm not saying he's always a great guy, and I know he's a ruthless man at times, but he has obviously a side of him that is really looking and willing to meditate and go within. And I think there's a lot of people in the world that are very, very successful, which brings me on to we're now 2 or 3 days after Barack Obama has been formally made president, and I think he's actually read your book, hasn't he?
Well,
you showed me a picture earlier of the book.
There is a picture of Barack Obama holding my book.
Yeah.
My wife took it on our website. Yes, we went to a fundraiser, and I got to meet him a year and a half ago, or not quite a year and a half. It was the summer, a little over a year ago. And he did say he was going to read it, and obviously he's been quite successful.
And you see, this is the wonderful thing about...
I didn't mean to imply that he's successful because he read the book.
This is the wonderful thing, I think, about... It was the same with President Clinton. He was, I gather, very open to meeting people like yourself just to see if he could learn something. And I think this is becoming more and more with world leaders now, whether they're politicians or businessmen. I'm not so sure about religious leaders, but that's another big subject. But certainly with politicians and businessmen, they are very open to looking outside the box, because that's how you become successful. You see things in a way other people don't see them, a much bigger scope.
That's right, and more creative. more creatively. I found him to be extremely open, and he really spoke from the heart, which really moved my wife and I. It really moved us. We had a lot of heart feeling from him.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we have about 3 minutes left. I'm going to give that 3 minutes to you. Anything you'd like to say about yourself or Big Mind or the little story you want to tell?
Well, I think what I'd like to really leave making sure people get that this shift of consciousness can happen to anyone who wishes to have this shift. All we have to do is be open, but there is a way to do it that requires some skill to make that shift. But it is absolutely available and accessible to every one of us, because every one of us already is big mind, already is the state of beingness of the human being. There's already that there. We just have to awaken it. And it's not as difficult as we thought for thousands of years. We thought we had to really pursue it. And we knew it always happened suddenly, but now what we're discovering is it's really accessible. And that's what I've been working on for now 38 years, is how to make that available to the general public. And what I'd like to do is help more and more people have that awakened state of consciousness, so that in the world we really come from a place where we really see that we are all one world, one mind, one heart, and really come from a more loving and compassionate place.
And it's almost as if, and they quote a famous Bob Dylan song, the times they are changing, because it used to be that to become realised whatever, you had to go and sit in a cave in the Himalayas and look at the side of the cave for 10 years or something. And now it seems, with the world speeding up and the world needing big change quickly, that this what you're talking about is becoming much more accessible.
Absolutely, and I think we're in a really pivotal time right now. I think we've made some great strides in the last few months. I think that, Barack Obama doesn't just represent America anymore. I think here in Europe we were all watching it very much, right? And I think we've made some real shifts towards a leap in consciousness in the next few years that I feel really is going to happen. Really positive about it, that we are going to make that next leap. Ken Wilber, the great philosopher, says we just need 10%. We're working at that.
Good.
In fact, Wilber, Bernie Glassman, Roshi, and myself have an organization called Vast Sky, where we're making a conscious effort to reach this kind of numbers of people.
No, great. I'm going to thank you for coming, Genpo, very much along and sharing your wisdom and talking about your work. I'm going to remind people of your book here. And thank you very much for watching Conscious TV, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.
Thank you, Ian.